How do you know who to trust? Do you trust the newest trend or the voice that seems to speak the loudest? Or do you turn to the oldest and wisest sage? Join me today as we take a quick look at the Proverbs and learn wisdom's origin and 3 reasons why it can be trusted. Read with me Proverbs chapter 8, verse 22 through 31. The Lord brought me forth as the first of his works, before his deeds of old. I was formed long ages ago, at the very beginning, when the world came to be. When there were no watery depths, I was given birth. When there were no springs overflowing with water, before the mountains were settled in place, before the hills I was given birth. Before he made the world or its fields, or any of the dust of the earth, I was there when he set the heavens in place, when he marked out the horizon on the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above and fixed securely the fountains of the deep, when he gave the sea its boundary, so the waters would not overstep his command, and when he marked out the foundations of the earth. Then I was constantly at his side. I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in his presence, rejoicing in his whole world, and delighting in mankind. The first thing that we see in these verses about trusting God's wisdom is the truth about wisdom. And we see it in verse 22 and 23. Wisdom existed with God before the beginning of time. Here in these verses, wisdom is personified. But it is not clear whether this personification of wisdom is describing an actual person or whether it is just a poetic literary device. Either way, we learn that God possessed wisdom long before he began the creation. And it was by wisdom that God planned and established all of creation. The next thing we see is the proof about wisdom in verse 24 through 29. Through wisdom, God created everything. Proverbs 3:19 says, "By wisdom the Lord laid the foundations of the earth. By understanding he set the heavens in place." Modern science teaches that everything in the universe came about by chance or by accident. But the careful study of creation and the universe reveals the wise and powerful hand of God. It took extreme wisdom to create the complex and intricate and endless ecosystems that exist in the earth. It took extreme wisdom to create and set in place the various waterways and the terrain that exists on the earth. It took extreme wisdom to fill it all with the endless varieties of living creatures that inhabit the earth. None of the amazing things we see in the universe, from the smallest atom to the most awe-inspiring galaxy, would even exist without God's wisdom. Lastly, we see the place of wisdom in verse 30 and 31. True wisdom is only found in the presence of God. Proverbs 2:6 says, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding." And Proverbs 9:10, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." The only true source of wisdom is God Almighty. And if we desire to be wise, then there is only one place that we can get it. James 1:5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." True wisdom will be revealed in the heart that truly loves and trusts God. James 3:13 says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom." But what will that wisdom look like? Well, James 3:17 says, "But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. So, do not think too highly of yourself or the latest trend. Proverbs 3:7 says, "Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones."